Hi, I'm Pastor Len Smith, interim minister at Shepherd's Heart Fellowship, and today we're continuing our series called Brethren Brush with Greatness, based on a book written by Frank Ramirez. And what I've tried to do is pick out some of the better known famous people that may have had some influence on or been influenced by the Brethren. And today we're going to talk about Annie Oakley. Now, Annie Oakley, that wasn't her real name. I think all of us realize that a lot of famous people have what we call stage names. But sometimes she was called Little Miss Sure Shot. And Annie Oakley's real name was Phoebe Ann Mosey. And little Phoebe Ann Mosey, she stood barely 5 feet tall. But she was able to support her family and paid off her mother's mortgage, because when she lifted a rifle to her shoulder and pulled the trigger, she never missed. Her mother, Susan Mosley, was a Quaker from Pennsylvania, but she was descended from the Clappers of Hollidaysburg, Pennsylvania, a Brethren stronghold. Without question, Susan Mosley's ancestors, better known as Annie Oakley, were Brethren. She married Frank Butler, a renowned marksman who had come into her town. Anne was 21 at that time. Butler had a standing bet of $100, which was an extraordinary sum for that day, that no one could outshoot him. Phoebe Ann matched him shot for shot until Butler missed his 25th target. Butler later considered that was the luckiest miss of his life. The two went on to share a happy marriage of 44 years before their deaths within days of each other. Annie Oakley was renowned for her ability to split a playing card in half edgewise from 90 feet away using her trusty .22 caliber rifle and then peppering it with 5 or 6 more holes as it fell to the ground. Some of you remember in history the famous Native American Sitting Bull. Sitting Bull gave Annie the nickname Little Miss Sure Shot when she and Butler traveled with Buffalo Bill's Wild West Show in 1885. Annie Oakley was the subject of numerous biographies, some totally fictional during her lifetime, and the subject of movies, television shows, and then there was a Broadway musical called Annie, Get Your Gun. In 1891, Annie Oakley toured Europe. As a part of her act, she shot a cigarette out of the mouth of Butler, her husband's mouth. Kaiser Wilhelm of Germany asked Annie Oakley to perform that feat on him, and she successfully complied, although later she is said to have remarked that she didn't like the Kaiser because he looked like the kind who might start a war. Annie also became a friend of another famous Brethren that we'll be talking about next week, the Brethren governor and Brethren minister Martin Grove Brumbaugh, and she was a regular guest at his governor's mansion. Even in her 60s, Annie Oakley's target shooting amazed audiences. More important, however, she supported many charities. After she died, her husband stopped eating and died 20 days later. It was discovered that her great fortune had already been spent on charities that managed most to her. What a story. And of course, we find even greater stories in God's Word. We hope you can join us at one of our life application classes on Sunday mornings at 9 a.m. here at Shepherd's Heart Fellowship. And of course, we invite you to stay and worship with us at 10 a.m. Stay tuned for more stories about Brethren Brush with Greatness. Thanks for watching.